The leather smelled like expensive tobacco and rain. I was folded into the space where floor mats should be, my ribs screaming, my breath trapped in my throat like a caged animal. Outside, Vance's Camaro screeched into the parking garage, hunting. Not for me. For his merchandise. That's what I'd become after 3 years of his fists. Inventory with a pulse. The door opened. A man slid into the driver's seat. Not sat, claimed it. Platinum watch. Bespoke suit sleeve. A dragon's tail in dark ink crawling up his wrist. I knew that tattoo. Everyone in Seoul knew that tattoo. Kaelen Thorne. The architect. The man who didn't just run the underworld, he redesigned it. I held my breath until my lungs turned to fire. Held it until black spots danced across my vision. Held it until... His eyes dropped. He didn't call security. Didn't reach for his phone. He looked at me like he'd been expecting me for 15 years. "Stay small, little bird," he whispered, his voice a frequency that vibrated through my bones. "I'll protect you." The engine purred to life. The car glided forward, smooth as a blade through water. And I realized, I hadn't escaped one cage. I just crawled into something far more dangerous. The penthouse wasn't a home. It was a threat dressed in marble and moonlight. 90 floors above Seoul, Kaelen Thorne's world existed in sharp edges and suffocating silence. For 3 days, I was a ghost haunting rooms designed to intimidate guards. No one asked my name. No one asked my story. Men in charcoal suits appeared like smoke, silent, stone-faced, terrifying. They brought clothes that felt like liquid against my skin. Silk that cost more than Vance's car. Food arranged like art on bone-white plates. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop waiting for the moment Kaelen would collect his debt. Because men like him didn't save women like me for free. On the 4th morning, I found him in his study. Floor-to-ceiling windows. The city sprawled below like conquered territory. He stood with his back to me, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean laced with violence. "Burn it. All of it. I want nothing left but ash and insurance claims." He ended the call. Turned. Those eyes. Dark enough to drown in. Sharp enough to dissect. "You've been standing there for 43 seconds, he said. "You're getting braver. Or more desperate." My throat tightened. "Why am I here?" "Because you climbed into my car. You could have turned me over to Vance." His lips curved. Not a smile. A warning. "Vance doesn't own you anymore. I bought his debts yesterday. All of them. Including you." The floor tilted beneath my feet. "That's illegal. Only if someone reports it." He moved closer. Each step deliberate. Predatory. "You were listed as collateral on a loan your ex took from very dangerous people. He gambled you away like livestock. I simply acquired the contract. I'm not property. Tell that to the 6 men who were planning to collect you next week." He stopped inches away. Close enough that I could smell cedar and gunpowder. Tell that to the buyer Vance lined up. A politician in Busan who likes his women broken and quiet. Bile rose in my throat. "I don't understand. Why would you? You ask too many questions for someone who should be grateful." His hand lifted. I flinched. Hated myself for flinching. But he didn't strike. He brushed a strand of hair from my face. His touch gentle in a way that felt more dangerous than any fist. "You're waiting for the blow to land, aren't you, Alicia?" My name in his mouth felt like an invasion. "How do you know my..." "I know everything." He stepped back. Returned to his desk. Picked up a crystal tumbler of amber liquid. "Your father was Dominic Chen. Your mother was Sarah. They died when you were 12 in a house fire that was ruled accidental but wasn't. You have an uncle, Chairman Harlan, who stole your inheritance and disappeared into Hong Kong's financial district. You've been surviving on the margins ever since. Vance found you working at a convenience store. Convinced you he was salvation. Turned you into his punching bag within 6 months. Each word landed like a stone in my chest. Stop. You have a scar on your left ribcage from when he threw you into a glass table. Another on your shoulder from a cigarette burn. You haven't smiled, really smiled, in 3 years. Tears burned behind my eyes. I refused to let them fall. Why are you doing this? Because Alicia, he drained his glass. Set it down with a crystalline clink. You're finally worth something. The words hung in the air like a noose. Get dressed. We're going out. Where? Shopping. He moved toward the door, then paused. Looked back over his shoulder. And Alicia? Stop looking for the exit. There isn't one. The door closed behind him with a whisper. I stood alone in the study, surrounded by wealth I couldn't touch and safety I couldn't trust, and realized the truth. Kaelen Thorne hadn't saved me. He'd acquired me. And whatever he paid, I'd be expected to repay in blood. The phone on his desk buzzed. A message lit up the screen. Vance. I know you have her. Name your price. Below it, Kaelen's response appeared in real time. Kaelen, she's not for sale. But you are. Check your bank account. I watched the screen go dark. Outside, Seoul glittered like broken promises. And somewhere in the city below, Vance was learning what happened to men who tried to steal from the architect. The same thing that would happen to me if I ever tried to leave. The fashion district smelled like money and contempt. Kaelen's hand pressed against my lower back. Firm, possessive, burning through the borrowed coat I wore to hide the bruises. Every step felt like walking through a museum where I was the exhibit no one wanted to see. Ethel, he said, guiding me toward glass doors that cost more than my entire life. Seoul's finest. You'll need a wardrobe that doesn't scream, victim. I wanted to argue. Wanted to run. But his fingers tightened just enough to remind me. I wasn't a guest. I was property being appraised. Inside, the store was a cathedral of silk and judgment. A woman materialized, razor-sharp barb, lips the color of arterial blood, eyes that performed surgery without anesthesia. Her gaze traveled from my scuffed shoes to my hollow cheeks, cataloging every failure. Mr. Thorne. Her smile was professional frost. We weren't expecting you. I don't make appointments, Mincio. I make appearances. He gestured toward me like presenting evidence. She needs everything. Mincio's eyes flickered over me again. This time, I saw the verdict. Charity case. Mistress. Disposable. Of course. Though I'm afraid our current collection runs. She paused, the silence sharp as wire. Exclusive. We don't typically stock survival sizes. The words landed like acid on exposed nerve. My face burned. That familiar heat, the one Vance had trained into me. The instinct to apologize for existing. To make myself smaller. To disappear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Kaelen's hand left my back. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. He moved toward Mincio with the casual grace of a shark cutting through water. Didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. Repeat that. Mincio's smile faltered. I simply meant. You meant that my associate isn't worth your time. Each word precisely placed. A surgeon selecting exactly where to cut. You looked at her and saw something disposable. Something beneath you. Mr. Thorne, I assure you. What's this franchise worth? He pulled out his phone. Fingers moving across the screen with terrifying efficiency. 12 locations across Seoul. Revenue approximately 8 billion won annually. Owned by Apex Luxury Group, which is, he looked up. Smiled. Having serious cash flow problems. Mincio's face drained of color. By noon, I will own Apex. By 12:01, this location will close for restructuring. By 12:02, you will be unemployed. He pocketed his phone, leaned closer. And every luxury house in Asia will receive a very detailed file about your treatment of clients. You'll be unhireable. Not just here. Everywhere. Please, her voice cracked. I have a daughter. Then teach her not to humiliate people for survival. He turned his back on her. Alicia, choose anything you want. Everything you want. Someone else will help you. He walked toward the exit. Min Seo stood frozen, her perfect composure shattered like dropped crystal. I should have felt vindicated. Should have felt powerful. Instead, I felt terrified. Because Kaelen hadn't defended me out of kindness. He'd defended his property. His investment. His possession. Another woman appeared, younger, trembling, eyes wide with fear and fascination. Miss, I'm Hannah. Please, let me help you. Whatever you need, anything, it's yours. I let her guide me through racks of fabric that felt like whispered promises. Dresses that cost more than I'd earned in years. Shoes that could pay rent for months. Hannah's hands shook as she measured me. Is it true, she whispered, that he just bought the entire company? I don't know. Min Seo is already crying in the back office. Someone from corporate called. They're flying in from Hong Kong. Her eyes met mine in the mirror. Who are you? I don't know anymore. No one important. You must be. He doesn't do this for no one. Through the window, I watched Kaelen on his phone. Conducting business. Destroying lives. Building empires. All before lunch. Hannah held up a dress. Midnight blue. Elegant. Devastating. This one, she said. It'll make you look like you belong in his world. I took the dress. Let the silk slide through my fingers. Belong. As if belonging to Kaelen Thorne's world was something to aspire to. As if it wasn't just another cage with better lighting. 30 minutes later, I emerged in clothes that transformed me into someone I didn't recognize. Someone expensive. Someone owned. Kaelen's eyes traveled over me, assessing, calculating, satisfied. Better, he said. Now you look like an investment worth protecting. Not a person. An investment. Thank you, I forced out. Don't thank me yet. He opened the car door. Tonight, you meet the family. My blood turned to ice. What family? Mine. The organization. The people who need to understand that you're under my protection. His smile was a blade in the dark. And that touching you means war. I climbed into the car. Behind us, through the boutique window, I watched Min Seo being escorted out by security. Kaelen had destroyed her entire future in under 10 minutes. For insulting me. For insulting his property. The car pulled into traffic, carrying me toward whatever fresh hell he designed. And in the reflection of the window, I barely recognized the woman staring back. She looked expensive. She looked protected. She looked like she belonged to Kaelen Thorne. Which meant she looked like prey dressed in silk, waiting for the predator to collect his debt. The restaurant didn't have a name on the door. Just a red lotus symbol burned into black wood. Private, Kaelen said, his hand possessive on my spine. Owned by the organization. If you're eating here, you're either family or about to be buried under the foundation. My heels clicked against marble as we descended stairs that spiraled into the earth. Each step took us deeper. Colder. Further from escape. At the bottom, doors opened into a room carved from darkness and candlelight. 12 people sat around an obsidian table. Men in suits that cost more than cars. Women with eyes sharp enough to gut you from across the room. They stopped talking the moment we entered. Every gaze locked onto me. Predators evaluating fresh meat. This is Alicia Chen, Kaelen announced, guiding me to an empty chair beside his at the head of the table. She's under my direct protection. Anyone who touches her answers to me personally. A woman at the far end laughed. Cold, crystalline, cruel. Sloane. I recognized her from the penthouse. Kaelen's second in command. She wore red like a weapon and looked at me like I was something rotting. Protection, she purred. Is that what we're calling it now? Sloane. Kaelen's voice could freeze blood. Choose your next words carefully. I'm simply curious, boss. She leaned forward, candlelight dancing across her face. What makes her so special? We've all seen you with acquisitions before. They usually last a week. Maybe 2. Then they disappear. She smiled. Where do they go, Alicia? Do you know? My throat closed. Kaelen's hand found mine under the table. Squeezed. Not comfort. Control. Alicia is different, he said. How? An older man spoke. Silver hair, scarred knuckles, voice like gravel. We're running an organization, not a charity for damaged women. What's her value? Her bloodline. The room went silent. Kaelen pulled something from his jacket. A photograph. Slid it across the table. I couldn't see it from my angle, but I watched their faces change. Shock. Recognition. Fear. Dominic Chen's daughter, Kaelen continued. The heir to the Chen shipping empire. The key to routes we've been trying to access for 15 years. No. This wasn't protection. This was chess. I was a piece on his board. Her uncle, Chairman Harlan, stole everything when her parents died. Kaelen's fingers tightened around mine. He's been hiding in Hong Kong, using Chen infrastructure to move product for the Triad. Untouchable. Until now. Sloane's eyes glittered with understanding. Bait. Insurance, Kaelen corrected. Harlan will come for her. When he does, we'll be ready. My lungs forgot how to work. You're using me. I'm protecting you. He turned to face me, his expression unreadable. Harlan wanted you dead, Alicia. Your parents' fire? Not an accident. He arranged it. You survived by chance. You were at a friend's house. He spent 12 years believing you died with them. The room tilted. That's not, you're lying. I have the contracts. The payments. The hired arsonist's confession before I killed him. Kaelen's voice was surgical. Harlan murdered your parents for shipping routes worth billions. And when he finds out you're alive, he'll come to finish what he started. Then why? My voice cracked. Why tell him I'm alive? Because when he comes, I'll be waiting. He released my hand. Addressed the room. Alicia stays at the penthouse under full security. No one touches her. No one approaches her. She's not a toy. She's a weapon. A weapon should be sharpened, Sloane said. Not coddled. Then sharpen her. Kaelen stood. You have 3 weeks. Teach her to survive our world. Teach her to fight back. Because when Harlan moves, I need her ready. He walked out. Left me sitting at a table with 11 predators who now knew exactly what I was worth. Bait. Insurance. A weapon. Sloane rose slowly, moving around the table like a circling wolf. Get up. I didn't move. I said. Her hand shot out, grabbed my hair, yanked. Get up. Pain exploded across my scalp. I stumbled to my feet, eyes watering. 3 weeks, she whispered in my ear. To teach you not to be a victim. Starting now. She released me. Stepped back. Defend yourself. What? Her fist came out of nowhere. I saw stars. Tasted copper. Hit the floor hard enough to crack ribs. The room watched in silence. Defend yourself, Sloane repeated. I tried to stand. She kicked me back down. You think Harlan will be gentle? You think the Triad will give you time to cry? Another kick. Kaelen brought you into a war, princess. And wars don't pause for damaged little girls. I stayed down. Waited for it to end. Like I always did. Like Vance had trained me. Sloane crouched beside me, grabbed my face, forced me to look at her. That's your problem. You're still his victim. She dug her nails in. But you're ours now. And we don't keep victims. We keep survivors. She released me. Stood. Tomorrow. 6 a.m. Gym on the 40th floor. Don't be late. She walked away. One by one, they all did. Left me bleeding on cold marble in a restaurant with no name. I don't know how long I stayed there. Long enough for the candles to burn lower. Long enough for the blood to dry on my lips. Long enough to understand the truth. Kaelen hadn't saved me from Vance. He'd bought me for a war I didn't choose. And Sloane was right. I was still a victim. But lying there, ribs screaming, face throbbing, something dark and sharp crystallized in my chest. Not anymore. If they wanted a weapon, I'd become one. But weapons cut both ways. And eventually, they'd learn. I wasn't just bait for Harlan. I was bait for all of them. 6 a.m. came like a guillotine. I dragged myself to the 40th floor, every muscle screaming from Sloane's lesson. My lip was split. My ribs bloomed purple and yellow. I looked like what I was. Broken. The gym was steel and mirrors and the smell of violence. Sloane waited in the center, wrapped hands, tank top, eyes like surgical instruments. You're late. I'm early. If you're not early, you're late. She tossed me hand wraps. Wrap up. We start with pain tolerance. I don't. That wasn't a question. I wrapped my hands with fingers that shook. Watched her in the mirror. She moved like water and razors. Efficient, lethal, beautiful in a way that made you forget she could kill you. Hit me, she said. What? You heard me. Hit me. I threw a pathetic punch. She didn't even move. Harder. I tried again. She caught my fist mid-air. You punch like you apologize. Soft. Weak. Asking permission. She twisted my arm until I gasped. Stop asking. Start taking. She released me. Circled. Kaelen thinks you're special because of your blood. Your name. Your dead parents. She stopped behind me. Whispered in my ear. Want to know what I think? I didn't answer. I think you're a liability. A pretty face attached to trauma. The kind of broken thing men like him collect to feel powerful. Her breath was hot against my neck. But he's given me 3 weeks to prove myself wrong. So we're going to find out if there's anything underneath all that damage worth keeping. She moved to the heavy bag. Demonstrated a combination. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut. Each strike landed with devastating precision. Your turn. I mimicked her movements. Clumsy. Weak. She didn't correct me. She let me embarrass myself for 10 minutes, then held up her hands. Hit these instead. I threw a punch. She barely absorbed it. Again. Punch. Again. Punch. Think about Vance. My next punch landed harder. Think about every time he hit you and you did nothing. Harder. Every time you apologized for bleeding. My knuckles started to ache. Every time you made yourself smaller so he'd stop. Something cracked inside my chest. Every time you chose survival over dignity. I screamed. Threw everything I had into the punch. Sloane staggered back. Actually staggered. For 3 seconds, we both stood frozen. Then she smiled. Not cruel. Not mocking. Proud. There she is. She lowered her hands. The woman who's been buried under all that fear. Do that again. I hit her. Again. 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 Until my arms turned to lead. Until sweat poured into my eyes. Until I couldn't tell if I was crying or just drowning in salt and rage. When I finally collapsed, she handed me water. You're weak, she said. But weakness can be fixed. It's the giving up that kills you. She sat beside me on the floor. Want to know why I hate you? Because, Kaelen. Because you remind me of who I used to be. She stared at her scarred knuckles. 15 years ago I was you. Different monster. Same cage. Kaelen found me in a brothel in Busan. I was 17. Property. Merchandise. Her jaw tightened. He didn't save me. He gave me a choice. Stay a victim or become something else. I chose violence. She stood. Offered her hand. You want to survive our world? Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting to be saved. Start deciding who you're going to become. I took her hand. Let her pull me up. Again, she said. We trained until noon. She taught me where to hit to break ribs. How to use an attacker's weight against them. How to turn a man's violence into his own destruction. You'll never be as strong as them, she explained during a water break. So you be smarter. Faster. More ruthless. She demonstrated a move. Palm strike to the nose, knee to the groin, elbow to the temple. 3 seconds. That's all you need to disable most men. By the time we finished, I could barely stand. Tomorrow, she said. We work on weapons. Knives. Guns. Anything you can improvise. She paused at the door. Alicia. Yeah. Kaelen's planning something. Something big. That's why he needs you trained. Her eyes held a warning. Don't trust him. Don't trust me. Don't trust anyone in this organization. We're all playing our own game. Including you now. She left. I stayed in the gym, staring at my reflection. Blood on my lips. Bruises blooming. Eyes harder than they'd been yesterday. I looked like someone who could survive. But survival wasn't enough anymore. The door opened behind me. Kaelen. He'd been watching from the observation room. I could see it in his expression. Satisfaction mixed with something darker. Sloane's good, he said. She hates me. She respects you. There's a difference. He moved closer. You did well today. I'm still weak. Weak today. Dangerous tomorrow. His hand lifted to my face. Thumb brushing over my split lip with devastating gentility. You're changing, Alicia. I can see it. The victim is dying. Something else is being born. I should have pulled away. Should have remembered he was using me. Instead, I held his gaze. What if what's born decides it doesn't want to be your weapon? His smile was a knife in the dark. Then I'll have created something magnificent. He leaned closer. Whispered against my temple. And magnificence always comes with risk. He left me standing there. Alone with my reflection and a dangerous truth. I was changing. But not into what he expected. Not into his weapon or his pawn. Into something that terrified me more than Vance ever did. Someone who might actually fight back. Someone who might actually win. Training with Sloane became my religion. Every morning at dawn, before the city woke, I became someone else. Someone who didn't flinch. Someone who hit back. But Kaelen's penthouse held secrets that training couldn't touch. On day 14, I found the library. It wasn't on any floor plan. Wasn't in any tour Kaelen's silent men had given me. Just a door that looked like wall paneling on the 45th floor, hidden behind an abstract painting worth more than most people's lives. The door was unlocked. Mistake or invitation. Inside, the air smelled like old paper and older sins. Floor-to-ceiling shelves packed with leather-bound books. First editions. Rare manuscripts. The kind of collection that screamed old money and older secrets. But I wasn't looking for literature. I was looking for truth. The ledgers were behind a false shelf, amateur hiding for a professional criminal. Or maybe he wanted them found. Maybe this was another test. 3 books. Black leather. No titles. The first contained financial records. Shipping manifests. Routes and schedules. The legitimate face of the Chan Empire Kaelen had stolen and rebuilt. The second was a kill list. Names, dates, methods, causes of death written in clinical detail like a surgeon's notes. Some deserved it: human traffickers, child predators, men who'd built empires on suffering. Others were just obstacles. People who said no. People who knew too much. Kaelen's handwriting. Efficient. Unapologetic. I should have stopped reading. Should have walked away. But the third ledger called to me like a siren song promising shipwreck. I opened it. The pages were older. The handwriting younger, less refined. This was Kaelen at 22. Kaelen before he became the architect. Kaelen when he was just a weapon following orders. I flipped through contracts, assignments, confirmations of completed jobs. Then I found it. The page that destroyed everything. A photograph paperclipped to yellowed paper. My childhood home engulfed in flames. Orange fire painting the night. Fire trucks arriving too late. Neighbors watching from safe distances. And in the corner of the frame, barely visible in the shadows, a young man. Early 20s. Dragon tattoo visible on his forearm catching the firelight. Kaelen. Below the photo, handwritten in that younger, less certain script. Chen Estate Elimination Contract. Complete targets. Dominic Chen, terminated. Sarah Chen, terminated. Collateral damage. Minimal secondary objective. Shipping routes, acquired. Debt settled. Final note. Daughter survived. Location unknown. Monitoring protocols activated. The ledger slipped from my hands. Hit the floor with a sound like bones breaking. My lungs forgot how to function. My heart forgot its rhythm. He hadn't just watched my house burn. He'd lit the match. You're holding evidence of your own murder. I spun. Kaelen stood in the doorway. No surprise in his expression. No panic. No guilt. He'd known I'd find it. Wanted me to find it. You. My voice was a broken thing. You killed them. My parents. You burned. Yes. One word. Clean as a surgical cut. No apology. No justification. Just yes. The room tilted. My knees wanted to give out. Why? The question scraped out of my throat like broken glass. He stepped into the library. Each movement deliberate. A predator approaching cornered prey. Your father was selling you. That's a lie. To a politician named Kong. 58 years old. Pedophile. Collector of young girls. His voice was surgical. Clinical. Your father owed him 3 million won. Gambling debts he couldn't pay. Kong offered to forgive everything in exchange for you. The deal was set for your 13th birthday. No. No. My father would never. Your father was desperate. Desperate men become monsters. Kaelen stopped 3 feet away. I was 22. New to the organization. Trying to prove I was worth keeping. My boss gave me an assignment. Eliminate the Chen family. Absorb their shipping infrastructure. Eliminate the Kong problem permanently. So you murdered them for business. I murdered them to stop something worse. His jaw tightened. The night of the fire, I went to your house planning to complete the contract. 3 bullets. 1 match. Clean. Efficient. But you weren't there. I remembered that night. Remembered being at my best friend's birthday party. Remembered not wanting to go home. I watched you through your friend's window, Kaelen continued. Saw you laughing. Eating cake. Being 12. And I realized I couldn't do it with you inside. Couldn't let you burn with them. So you waited until I was safe and murdered them anyway. I waited until you were safe and gave you a chance your father never would. He moved closer. I set the fire. Took the shipping routes. Built an empire from your family's ashes. And every single day for 15 years, I tracked you. Protected you. Made sure Kong never found you. Made sure no one touched what was mine. I'm not yours. His hand shot out, gripped my chin, forced me to meet his eyes. You've been mine since the night I chose your life over my orders. Since I went back and put 3 bullets in Kong before he could find another 12-year-old girl to destroy. His grip tightened. I didn't save you from Vance by accident. I've been cleaning up your life since you were 12. Every bad boyfriend. Every dangerous corner. Every time you got too close to people who'd hurt you, I was there. I tried to pull away. He held firm. Your Uncle Harlan wanted you dead too. That's why I faked your death certificate. Bribed officials. Made the world think you died in that fire. I created a ghost so you could grow up invisible. Why? Tears burned my eyes. I refused to let them fall. Why go through all that? Because I was 22 and stupid enough to believe I could atone for burning your world down. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. I told myself I'd wait. Let you live your life. And if you never needed me, I'd let you go. But I climbed into your car. But you climbed into my car. His smile was broken. And every vow I made, every promise to stay away, died the moment I saw you folded into that space, terrified mine. I shoved him away. Finally broke free. You're a monster. Yes. You destroyed my family. To save you from your father's choice. That's not salvation. I screamed. That's ownership. I know. The honesty shattered me more than any lie could. He picked up the ledger. Tore the page with the photo in half. Handed me one piece. My house. My past. My grave. Keep it, he said quietly. Remember what I am. And when your uncle comes, decide if you want revenge or escape. He left. I stood alone holding half a photograph of my murdered childhood, and felt something cold crystallize in my chest. Not hate. Understanding. Both my father and Kaelen had made monstrous choices, but only one had spent 15 years trying to give me a future. I looked at the photograph and realized the terrible truth. I should hate him. But standing there with evidence of his sins, I felt something more dangerous growing. Choice. The power to decide what happened next. Not as his victim. Not as his weapon. As the woman who understood that monsters don't always look like Vance. Sometimes they look like salvation. And sometimes you choose them anyway. The invitation arrived 3 days after the confession. Heavy cardstock. Gold leaf edges. Embossed lettering that felt like a threat. The diamond gala black tie required attendance mandatory. Sloane dropped it on my breakfast table like a death sentence. Every syndicate in Asia will be there, she said. Triads. Yakuza. Russian Bratva. It's neutral ground. A night where everyone pretends we're civilized. Her smile was acid. It's also where Kaelen plans to announce you. My coffee turned to ash in my mouth. Announce me. As his. Under his protection. Off limits. She leaned against the counter. Which means every enemy he's ever made will see you. Remember you. And start planning how to use you against him. Then I won't go. You don't have a choice. He's making a statement. If you hide, they win. If you run, you prove you're a weakness. Her eyes glittered with something almost like sympathy. This is your coming out party into hell, princess. Dress accordingly. The dress arrived that afternoon. Emerald velvet. Backless. Cut to devastate. It showed every curve and every scar. The yellowing bruises on my ribs. The cigarette burn on my shoulder. The thin white line on my collarbone where Vance had pressed a knife just deep enough to remember. I stared at myself in the mirror. Not a victim anymore. Not a weapon yet. Something caught between, dangerous and damaged and visible. Kaelen appeared in the doorway. Tuxedo sharp enough to cut. Eyes that traveled over me like he was cataloging inventory. Perfect, he said. I look like a bruise in expensive fabric. You look like someone who survived. That's more powerful than perfection. He approached, fastened a diamond choker around my throat. Cold metal, colder stones. Everyone at the gala will have scars. The difference is, most of them hide theirs. You're going to walk in wearing yours like armor. Or a target. Same thing in our world. His fingers lingered on my neck. Stay close to me tonight. Don't drink anything I don't give you. Don't eat anything you don't see prepared. And if anyone asks you questions, let you answer. No. His eyes locked onto mine. Answer honestly. Show them you're not fragile. Not hidden. Not ashamed. He stepped back. Show them you're mine by choice, not force. It makes you more dangerous. The ride to the gala was silence and city lights. I watched Seoul blur past, millions of people living normal lives while we descended into a world where violence wore diamonds and spoke in polite threats. The venue was a converted palace. Gold and crystal and the weight of blood money masquerading as culture. Kaelen's hand found my waist as we entered. Every head turned. Conversations died mid-sentence. I felt their eyes like scalpels, dissecting, evaluating, pricing. Breathe, Kaelen murmured. I couldn't. Because across the ballroom, through the crowd of predators in evening wear, I saw him. Chairman Harlan. My uncle. My parents' murderer. The ghost who'd stolen my inheritance. He was older than I remembered. Silver hair, expensive suit, eyes like frozen coins. He stood with a group of men who looked like they ate nations for breakfast. And he was staring directly at me. Recognition. He knows, I whispered. Good. Kaelen's grip tightened. That's why we're here. Harlan moved through the crowd like a shark through water. People parted for him. The predators recognized an apex. He stopped 3 feet away. Smiled. Alicia. My name in his mouth felt like violation. You've grown. I didn't believe it when I heard Kaelen had acquired Dominic's daughter. I thought you died with your parents. You thought you killed me with them. His smile didn't falter. Careful, dear. Accusations require evidence. And evidence has a way of disappearing in our world. He looked at Kaelen. Though I'm sure Mr. Thorne has taught you that lesson already. I've taught her many things, Kaelen said, including how to identify the men who burn children's homes for shipping routes. The temperature dropped. Around us, conversations stopped. People sensed blood in the water. Harlan's eyes went flat. I came to pay respects. To welcome my niece back from the dead. To offer reconciliation. He gestured to a waiter. The man approached with a tray. 2 champagne flutes. Something in my gut screamed wrong. I saw it before anyone else did. Years of hypervigilance from Vance, now weaponized. The waiter's hand trembled. Sweat beaded his temple. His eyes kept darting to Harlan. Fear. Orders. Desperation. Under the pristine white cloth covering the tray, a shape that didn't match champagne glasses. Steel. Angular. Weapon. Kaelen. Everything happened in the space between heartbeats. The waiter dropped the tray. Champagne exploded across marble. His hand came up holding a suppressed pistol. I didn't think. I grabbed a crystal flute from a nearby table, smashed it against the edge, and screamed, a raw, primal sound that shattered the moment of frozen shock. The gun went off. Kaelen moved. Pulled me down as the bullet shredded the air where his head had been. Chaos erupted. People screaming. Security converging. The waiter trying to aim again. Sloane appeared from nowhere, drove a champagne bottle into his temple. He dropped like a severed puppet. But I was already looking up. Red laser dot. Mezzanine level. Sniper. The dot painted Kaelen's chest as he rose. Down. I threw my full weight into him. We hit the floor as marble exploded where his head had been. chunks of stone and dust and the smell of cordite. His body covered mine. Protective. Possessive. Stay down. Your gun. Where's your gun? He pulled a suppressed pistol from a shoulder holster. Didn't look. Just aimed at the mezzanine and fired 3 shots. A body tumbled over the railing. Hit a chandelier. Swung there like a grotesque ornament. Kaelen was already moving, dragging me toward a service entrance as security flooded the ballroom. Behind us, Harlan's voice cut through the chaos. Find them. We ran. Through kitchens that smelled like seared meat and fear. Down service corridors. Out a loading dock into an alley that reeked of garbage and rain. A car screeched up, Sloane driving, blood on her dress, murder in her eyes. Get in. We dove into the back seat. The car launched forward as bullets sparked off the trunk. Kaelen pulled me against him, checking for wounds, his hands everywhere. You're bleeding. It's yours, I said. Graze on his temple. Not deep. Enough. He stared at me like I'd grown wings. You saved me. You thought I'd let them kill you? My voice shook. You're the monster who destroyed my life. If anyone gets to end you, it's me. His laugh was broken. Raw. Real. There she is. The woman who's going to burn my world down. In the front seat, Sloane met my eyes in the mirror. Approval. Respect. Fear. Because tonight, I'd proven something. I wasn't just Kaelen's weapon or Harlan's target. I was something none of them expected. Someone who'd choose to save the monster who'd spent 15 years protecting her. Even if it meant starting a war. The safe house wasn't safe. It was a converted shipping container in the industrial docks. Rusted metal, concrete floor, the smell of brine and diesel. No marble. No silk. No illusion of civilization. Just 4 walls and the truth. Kaelen sat on a crate, peeling his jacket off with movements that betrayed pain. The graze on his temple had stopped bleeding but left a dark trail down his jaw. He looked mortal for the first time since I'd met him. Smaller. Vulnerable. Human. How did you know? He asked. The waiter. He was terrified. Not of the crowd. Of failing. I paced the small space, adrenaline still crackling through my veins. Vance used to get that look before he'd hurt me. That desperate need to follow orders before the consequences got worse. Kaelen's eyes tracked me. Sharp even through pain. 3 years with him taught you to read violence. 3 years with him taught me violence has a language. You just have to learn to speak it. I stopped. Looked at him. Harlan sent 2 shooters. The waiter was a distraction. The sniper was the real threat. Harlan never uses just one weapon. He pulled a first aid kit from under the crate. Winced as he cleaned the wound. He stacks redundancies. If plan A fails, plan B is already moving. If I'd dodged the waiter, the sniper would have had a clean shot. But you didn't let that happen. His voice carried something I couldn't name. Wasn't gratitude. Wasn't surprise. Or, I told you, I said. If anyone gets to kill you, it's me. And here I thought you decided to keep me alive. I haven't decided anything. I took the gauze from his trembling fingers. Let me. He went still as I approached. Wary. Like I might strike instead of heal. I pressed the gauze to his temple with more gentleness than either of us deserved. Why did you really bring me to the gala? I asked quietly. To show Harlan you were real. Alive. Under my protection. That's the tactical answer. What's the truth? His jaw tightened under my fingers. I wanted him to see what he'd lost. What he'd tried to destroy. His eyes found mine. I wanted him to know that everything he took, your family, your inheritance, your childhood, survived anyway. Grew into something he can't control or kill. You wanted him afraid. I wanted him aware. He caught my wrist. Held it against his face. I've spent 15 years building an empire on your family's corpses. Tonight was supposed to be my apology. Proof that I'd protected the one thing that mattered. I'm not a thing. You're everything. The words came out raw. Unguarded. I've built walls my entire life. Kept people out. Kept myself controlled. Told myself it was strategy. Protection. Survival. His grip tightened. Then you climbed into my car and every wall I'd spent 20 years building started cracking. Kaelen. I don't save people, Alicia. I use them. Exploit them. Discard them when they stop being useful. His voice dropped to something almost broken. But you, I can't use you without destroying myself. Can't discard you without losing the only real thing in my manufactured world. I should have pulled away. Should have remembered he was a monster. Instead, I pressed my forehead to his. You're still the man who burned my house down. I know. You're still using me to get to Harlan. I know. And when this is over, we'll still be enemies. I know. The honesty was more devastating than any lie. His hand came up to cup my face. Thumb brushing over my split lip, the one Sloane had given me, now healing into a scar that matched his. But right now, he whispered, in this rusted cage where nothing is pretty or civilized, you're the only thing that's real. I kissed him. Not gently. Not carefully. Like drowning and breathing and burning all at once. He tasted like blood and expensive whiskey and 15 years of waiting. His hands found my waist, pulled me closer, like he was trying to memorize the weight of me against him. The kiss broke. We stayed close, breathing the same air, caught in the same gravity. This doesn't change anything, I said. I know. I still don't trust you. Good. His smile was broken glass. Trust gets you killed in our world. A sound outside, boots on metal, heavy and deliberate. We both froze. Kaelen's hand found his gun. Moved me behind him in one fluid motion. How many? I whispered. He tilted his head. Listening. 8. Maybe 10. His voice was cold calculation. Harlan tracked the car. GPS I didn't disable because I'm too busy being human instead of careful. Is there another exit? Drainage hatch under the floorboards. Leads to the water. He handed me his backup weapon. You go. I'll hold them. Like hell. Alicia, this isn't negotiation. You're right. It's not. I checked the magazine. Full. You said you've spent 15 years protecting me. Well, I'm using that life to fight. Not run. You'll die. We'll die. I met his eyes. Or we'll survive. Together. For 3 seconds, he just stared at me. Then something shifted in his expression. The architect crumbled. The man remained. You're insane. I learned from the best. The door shuddered. Someone testing it. Preparing to breach. Kaelen moved to the left of the entrance. I took the right. When they come through, he said, voice steady as surgery, aim center mass. Keep firing until the threat stops moving. Hesitation kills. I know. My hands didn't shake. Vance had taken that from me. Fear. Hesitation. The luxury of mercy. The door exploded inward. 3 men rushed in, Harlan's crew, suits ruined, weapons ready. I fired. The recoil shocked up my arms but my aim held. First man dropped. Second stumbled. Kaelen took the third with 2 shots. Chest. Head. Efficient. But more were coming. Boots on metal. Shouting. The sound of a war we couldn't win. The hatch. Kaelen grabbed my arm. No. Now. He pulled up the floorboards. Darkness yawned below, water and unknown depth. Gunfire tore through the walls. Metal shrieking. Voices closing in. Trust me, he said. I looked at him, the monster who destroyed my past, protected my present, and was currently trying to save my future. I don't trust you, I said. But you're coming anyway. But I'm coming anyway. We jumped together. Into black water. Into the unknown. Into whatever came next. As we surfaced in the cold harbor, I heard them above. Harlan's men swarming the container, finding it empty, their prize escaped. Kaelen's arm wrapped around me, keeping me afloat, pulling me toward distant lights and temporary safety. Still hate me? He asked, voice rough from salt water. More than ever. Good. He pulled me closer. Because hate means you're still fighting. And I need you fighting. We swam toward shore. Toward whatever war Harlan was bringing. Toward the truth I'd been avoiding. I wasn't just Kaelen's weapon or his salvation. I was choosing to be his partner in damnation. And God help us both. We surfaced in an abandoned warehouse 3 blocks from the docks. Soaked. Shivering. Alive. Kaelen's phone was destroyed. Mine was back at the penthouse. We had 1 gun, wet clothes, and Harlan's entire network hunting us. Sloane, I said through chattering teeth. Can we reach her? If she's not dead. He peeled off his ruined shirt, wrung it out. His torso was a map of scars, bullet wounds, knife fights, survival. Harlan will hit the penthouse first. The safe houses second. Anyone associated with me becomes a target. Then we're alone. We've always been alone. He moved to the warehouse window. Checked sight lines. That's why we're still breathing. I wanted to argue. Wanted to point out that alone meant cornered. But he was already in architect mode, calculating, strategizing, 3 steps ahead of everyone including himself. Harlan has resources, he said. Money. Men. Political connections. He can outlast us in a siege. His jaw tightened. But he has a weakness. What? Pride. He turned to face me. He thought I was just a young thug when I took the Chen routes. Underestimated me. By the time he realized I'd built an empire, it was too late to stop me. His eyes glittered. He's making the same mistake with you. What mistake? Thinking you're bait instead of the hunter. The words settled between us like drawn blades. What are you saying? I'm saying we stop running. He crossed to me. Cupped my face with hands still cold from the harbor. I'm saying you walk into Harlan's world and make him think he's won. My blood turned to ice. You want me to surrender. I want you to lie. His thumb traced my cheekbone. You tell him I'm dead. Drowned in the harbor. That you escaped and came to him, your last living relative, for protection. He'll never believe. He'll believe what he wants to believe. That I'm gone. That you're alone. That the Chen Empire is finally his for the taking. Kaelen's smile was a weapon. And while he's celebrating, you find his weakness. His secrets. The evidence he's buried. Then what? Then you burn his world down from the inside. The plan was insane. Suicidal. Perfect. He tried to kill me tonight. Because you were mine. If you're not mine anymore, you're just a terrified girl who watched me die. His grip tightened. You've spent 3 years surviving Vance. You know how to be small. Scared. Controllable. I'm done being small. Then be small one last time. Make him underestimate you. He released me. Started pacing. Harlan keeps his real assets off book. Physical ledgers. Paper trails. He's old school. Paranoid. He won't trust digital. Where would he keep them? His personal office. His home. Somewhere he controls absolutely. Kaelen stopped. Somewhere he'd bring a traumatized niece who just escaped her kidnapper. Understanding crystallized. You want me to infiltrate his life. I want you to destroy him. His eyes burned. Everything I've built for 15 years, every sin, every sacrifice, was to position you for this moment. To give you the weapons to take back what he stole. And if I fail, you won't. How do you know? Because you didn't run when I told you to. You didn't hide when bullets flew. You saved me when letting me die would have freed you. He moved close again. You're not the girl who hid in my car anymore, Alicia. You're the woman who's going to take back an empire. What happens to you? I disappear. Play dead. Let Harlan think he's won. His smile went sharp. Then, when you found what we need, I rise from the grave and we finish this together. How will I reach you? He pulled something from his pocket, a small flash drive, waterproof case, somehow intact. Emergency protocols. Contacts Harlan doesn't know about. Drop sites. Codes. He pressed it into my palm. When you have the evidence, use these. I'll come for you. Kaelen. Don't say it. His voice roughened. Don't say goodbye. Don't make this about anything except survival and revenge. But I grabbed his face. Forced him to look at me. If I do this, if I walk into his world and become what he expects, promise me something. Anything. When this is over, when Harlan's dead and the Empire is ash, my voice cracked. Let me choose who I become next. Not you. Not him. Not anyone's weapon or property or redemption. His eyes searched mine. Then he kissed me. Desperate. Final. Like drowning and breathing and saying goodbye in the same breath. When we broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. I promise. When this ends, you're free. His voice was barely audible. Even from me. 2 hours later, I walked out of the warehouse alone. Hair matted. Clothes torn. Face painted with manufactured terror. Harlan's men found me within 15 minutes. Exactly as planned. They grabbed me. Shoved me into a car. Drove me to a mansion that reeked of old money and older sins. Harlan waited in a study that looked like a dictator's museum. Alicia. Concern dripped from his voice like poison honey. Are you hurt? Where's Kaelen? I let tears fall. Let my voice shake. Dead. He drowned. The car went into the harbor and I barely. Sure. You're safe now. He guided me to a chair. Poured brandy I wouldn't drink. You're with family. I'll protect you. Liar. I'm sorry, I whispered. I didn't know who else. You did the right thing. His hand touched my shoulder. I forced myself not to flinch. Kaelen was a monster who kidnapped you. Now he's gone. And everything he took from our family returns to where it belongs. Thank you, Uncle. The word tasted like rot. But I smiled. Played broken. Played grateful. Played the terrified niece who'd finally come home. And as Harlan celebrated his victory, his greatest enemy dead, his niece returned, his empire secured, I began my real work. Memorizing his security. Mapping his routines. Searching for the ledgers that would destroy him. Because Kaelen was right. I wasn't the girl who hid anymore. I was the woman who'd learned from monsters how to become one. And Harlan had just invited me into his kingdom. He thought I was a traumatized victim seeking shelter. He didn't realize he just handed the keys to his entire world to the woman who'd spent 3 weeks learning how to burn things down. 3 days passed. I played my part perfectly. Grateful. Fragile. Harmless. On the 4th day, Harlan took me to his private office. Your father and I built something beautiful together, he said, showing me files, documents, the legitimized face of his empire. Before his unfortunate decisions. Before the fire. He was rewriting history. Making himself the hero. My fingers itched for a weapon. I want to help, I said softly. To learn. To make up for the years I was lost. Of course. His smile was paternal. Possessive. Your family, Alicia. Everything I have will be yours someday. Liar. Murderer. Dead man walking. Thank you, Uncle. I won't let you down. That night, I found his real office. The one behind the false bookshelf. The one with no cameras. The one containing 3 ledgers bound in black leather. Names. Transactions. Murders. Everything. Including the contract he'd signed with an arsonist 15 years ago to eliminate the Chen family. My family. I photographed every page with a camera hidden in my watch, courtesy of Kaelen's emergency kit. Then I uploaded everything to the drop site. And waited for the monster I'd chosen to rise from his grave. Because the game had changed. Harlan thought he'd won. He had no idea the Queen had just captured his king. The message came at midnight. 3 words on a burner phone that appeared on my pillow like a benediction. Tomorrow. Burn everything. Kaelen was coming. I stood at Harlan's window, his study, his empire, his cage, and watched Seoul glitter below like broken promises. 23 days since I'd climbed into a stranger's car. 23 days since I'd stopped being a victim. Tomorrow, I'd stop being anyone's weapon. Behind me, the door opened. Harlan. Brandy in hand. Smile like a noose. Can't sleep. Too much to process. I kept my voice soft. Fragile. The lie I'd perfected. Everything you've shown me. The business. The legacy. It's overwhelming, I know. He moved beside me. Too close. But you're doing wonderfully, Alicia. Your father would be proud. My father would spit on your grave. There's something I need to tell you, I said. His eyes sharpened. What? Kaelen. I let my voice crack. Before he died, he said something. About you. About the fire. Harlan's expression didn't change. But his breathing did. What did he say? That you ordered it. That you killed my parents for shipping routes. I turned to face him. Let tears fall. But that's insane, right? You loved them. You would never. Of course not. His hand found my shoulder. Squeezed. Kaelen was a liar and a monster. He would have said anything to turn you against me. That's what I thought. I smiled through tears. I'm glad I was right to come to you. His relief was palpable. Always trust family, Alicia. Blood is everything. Blood is everything. I should sleep, I said. Big day tomorrow. You said you're introducing me to the board. Yes. Time for Seoul to know the Chen heir has returned. Pride dripped from his voice. Time to show them what we've built. I left him standing at the window. Walked to my assigned room. Plush, monitored, a gilded cage. But I didn't sleep. I waited. At 3 a.m., the power died. Emergency lights flickered on. Harlan's security scrambled. And through the chaos, a figure materialized in my doorway. Kaelen. Alive. Lethal. Mine. Miss me, he whispered. Like a plague. His smile was darkness and devotion. Ready to finish this? I pulled the flash drive from where I'd hidden it, containing every photograph, every document, every sin Harlan had buried. Everything you need. Murders. Money laundering. Political bribes. Human trafficking. I pressed it into his palm. Enough to destroy him 10 times over. You're magnificent. I'm furious. I grabbed his jacket. Where's Sloan? Alive. Waiting with 50 armed operators surrounding this building. His hand cupped my face. We have 10 minutes before Harlan realizes this isn't a power failure. It's an invasion. Then let's not waste them. We moved through the mansion like ghosts. We found Harlan in his panic room. The door was reinforced steel. Biometric locks. Designed to withstand anything. Except the niece he'd given access to. I pressed my palm to the scanner. The door opened. Harlan looked up from his emergency phone, shock bleaching his face white. Hello, Uncle, I said. Kaelen stepped in behind me. Gun leveled. Smile like Judgment Day. Surprise. I'm terrible at staying dead. You Harlan lunged for a hidden weapon. I was faster. The gun Sloane had taught me to use appeared in my hand. I didn't fire. Just held it steady. Aimed at the man who'd burned my childhood. Sit down, I said. We're going to have a family discussion. Harlan sat. For the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. Alicia, whatever he's told you. I found your ledgers. The real ones. Including the contract with the arsonist. My voice was surgical. I know you killed them. I know why. I know everything. It was business. It was murder. I stepped closer. My mother. My father. My entire childhood. Burned for shipping routes. Then you know Kaelen isn't innocent. He burned that house. To stop you from profiting from my father's desperation. Kaelen's voice was ice. Then spent 15 years protecting her while you built an empire on her family's corpses. She's blood. She's evidence. I handed Kaelen the flash drive. Everything you've done. Documented. Photographed. Uploaded to every law enforcement agency in 3 countries. Harlan's face crumbled. You can't. I'm family. You killed my family. I lowered the gun. Not because I wouldn't use it. But because I didn't need to. I'm not going to shoot you, Uncle. That's too merciful. Then what? I'm going to watch you lose everything. I smiled. Your empire. Your freedom. Your legacy. Just like you took mine. Behind us, footsteps. Sloane appeared with 2 operatives. Building secured. Police are 3 minutes out. Kaelen nodded. Take him. They dragged Harlan away, screaming, threatening, promising revenge that would never come. Then it was just us. Standing in the ruins of an empire built on my family's ashes. It's done, Kaelen said quietly. Is it? I looked at him. Your promise. That when this ended, I'd be free. Even from you. Something broke in his expression. I meant it. Good. I stepped closer. Because I don't want freedom from you. My hand found his. I want partnership. Not as your weapon. Not as your redemption. As your equal. You're insane. I learned from the best. He kissed me. Not like goodbye. Like beginning. We walked out together. The police took Harlan. Sloane secured the assets. And Kaelen and I stood on his penthouse roof, watching dawn break over Seoul. Still hate me? He asked. Always. I leaned against him. But hate's just love with sharper edges. What now? Now we find out if 2 broken people can build something that doesn't destroy everyone around them. His smile was broken and real and mine. Deal. The sun rose over Seoul. Over 2 people who'd learned that sometimes salvation and damnation were the same face. If this story kept you hooked from start to finish. Like this video. It tells me you want more stories like this. Comment below. Who was your favorite character? Subscribe. Don't miss the next story that'll keep you up all night. Your support means everything. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.